Hello there, Ben McGary. How are you
Hello,
today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us. Ben, you're our featured guest today, and you're going to be, talking about sales strategy. All right. So, can I just want to get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and of course, you're one of our, our vetted service providers, one of our newest vetted service providers, actually. And so, tell us a little bit about who you are, what your company does, and what you have to say today.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. First off, I'm very excited. That's why I was messaging you so late yesterday. Uh, um, so my name is Ben McGary. If we haven't already met, I am a marketing strategist. I focus really heavily on the planning side of things instead of the tactical side of things. Not because I don't like the tactical, just because I feel that the order is very important. I've been in sales and marketing for about 20 years total, and I've sold over $150 million worth of kind of everything from cars to financial tools. I've sold, pest control. I've sold AT&T door to door. I've kind of went around a little bit of everything, trying to make sure that I kind of knew every single part of sales. And throughout that process, one of the things that I learned was that I was really I was really kind of at the mercy of the marketing team, no matter where I went, no matter what I did. And
Hmm.
so by moving a little further upstream, I was able to have pretty drastic impact on my sales results. And then as a result of that, the teams that I was able to lead were able to kind of move forward. So um, marketing just kind of became my thing. And I think like most people, I started in tactics, looking at what a guru taught or a course creator taught or something like that, and got myself very, very confused and had to kind of unlearn and work through things. And so that's kind of what I try to do for other people is to clear out any noise, to provide just clear signal and very easy, approachable way to go. Um, and I think what that does is that opens potential for people and frees them from jobs they don't like, places they don't like to live, relationships, all kinds of things that happen because we get trapped by our work. So that's why I do what I do, and I tend to work with agencies. I work with a lot of franchise locations that are trying to roll out uniformity across multiple different rooftops. Um, it seems like I work with a lot of tech companies that are super techy and not great at talking to people. Um,
Right.
which is great because I get to speak a little bit of two languages there, maybe even three languages if we count sales as its own fabric of marketing. So yeah, I'm in Southern California. That's where I stay. I've lived in Manhattan in New York. From the Midwest originally, kind of moved all around. Um, Not because of the military, just because I was bored. So that's kind of me. I think a little bit of everything. George, you probably know a lot more that I'm missing, but yeah, that's my nutshell.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. Well, now that you're here, and welcome, Jackie. I've seen that you joined us too. So it's great to have you. Um, how does someone start building a marketing strategy? That's one of the things that we're here to hear from you. And strategy is different than tactical. So maybe if you want to start, just so we can help to explain how tactical and strategy is different. But then also, how do you start building a marketing strategy?
Yeah. So, I've got a few slides. You want me to go ahead and pop those open so we could talk about it and give somebody some visuals?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. So I had it open this whole time until right when I said that. So, uh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to start with it or end with it, but it's the Ben show, so whichever way you want to
Well,
do.
we'll just kind of, I know we don't have a ton of time, and I don't want to get to the point where I'm just rapid fire spitting stuff out. So we'll go through what we can, and then, like I told you afterward, I'll kind of finish this up and I'll upload it into the portal so everybody could access it when they want.
Hmm.
Okay, so the whole point of today is really just to kind of talk about strategies for success. And so the way I see things is very holistic. If you haven't gathered that already, it's really a blend of marketing, sales, and systems that kind of brings everything together. Um, and so the objective here would be to go from no marketing strategy to predictable success with a scalable sales system. So that's kind of what we'll go over here. The central kind of idea is that most businesses struggle more than they should with sales. And the truth is, it's because they're failing at marketing. And they fail at marketing because they don't have a strategy to follow that consistently and predictably delivers results. So that's our goal, is to actually put one of those into place. And then, we can all sleep a little better because we know that there's consistent leads coming into our pipeline. One heads up, if this doesn't give you an idea yet, by the end of this, you will have a very good idea of my personality. So buckle up, it'll be fun. But there's just really 4 key things that we'll go over. So understanding why strategy matters, differentiating between strategy and tactics, which will answer your question in just a sec. Then we'll start the marketing strategy. We won't actually finish it here, but we'll talk about how to start it and then how to architect a scalable sales system. So these are the key pieces that we'll go over. And then, like I said, if we don't get to everything, we'll upload it. If anybody has any questions, just let me know as we go. Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have to start off. If you were here last week, you probably heard me talk about this just a little bit. So there's a lot of noise in the marketplace, and it's just one thing I want everybody aware of. Not because I'm saying listen to me, not someone else. It's because I've listened to a lot of other people and bought tons of courses and read books and done all kinds of things. Followed people really to only find out that all they did was change the name of something I was already doing. Right? It was marketing. I was buying marketing. I was falling victim to the exact same thing. So. Hey, not everybody loves it when I say it, but charlatans often sound like sages. And so just be aware. Don't get distracted by the loudest in the room. Find your path and then stick to it. And I would say throughout this, I've referenced a few different places. For instance, like this image. Later, you'll be able to click on this. It's a very interesting LinkedIn post where the guy worked for a lot of these gurus and exposed it all. Fascinating. If you like that kind of stuff. But for the most part, as I talk about actual frameworks, I'm going to talk about digital marketer through this. And the reason why is because they are a leading authority in the digital marketing space. They are an educational and certification program. They do not sell anything else. They're not trying to sell you a tactic, right? So that's what we use as we move forward. I feel like I can't say that without telling you a little bit about me. So since I've already done that, I'll kind of skip past it. Like I said, I feel qualified to sit here and talk to you guys about the digital marketer frameworks because I am a certified digital marketer through their systems in direct response, customer value optimization, which is funnel mastery, email marketing, and the strategy side. Additionally, I'm also a high-level certified admin. So I think all that really means is that I can do all the techie stuff. So if that's what's needed, then so as you can see, over $150 million in sales revenue, spanning 20-year career, various industries and markets. Digital marketer, all that stuff. You can see it. I don't need to read it all. The 3 areas that I really focus on are strategic, or targeted positioning, strategic marketing, and tactical systems. Targeted positioning is really more of the branding side of things, and strategic marketing is how we get our messages out, and then tactical systems is the system side of things. Okay, so talking about why strategy matters, actually getting into things here. So a strategy provides a clear roadmap that aligns all of our efforts toward achieving long-term goals, ensuring efficient resource allocation and cohesive execution across all activities. And this is really important, especially as companies are smaller and they're trying to wear a lot of different hats. Money can get spread too thin. And because of that, we could never actually, see the results that we're looking for. So we want to make sure that we have a good strategy. As you can see, without a good strategy, we can run every single day and never be ready for a marathon. So it's really hard to build a house without a blueprint, and never want to be the spoon in the middle of a knife fight, right?
I love the humor in your.
The big thing though is having the right strategy, and so that's why it really matters about who you're listening, where you're getting your information to, or getting your information from. Because that 1 degree shift is a massive change in the trajectory of your business. And so the tips that I have for getting it right would just be to take your time. A lot of people tend to rush through the strategy side, especially there's a lot of people out there that are like, go, go, go. You just get an idea and it's all about action. And while there's a lot of merit to that, there's a lot of merit to taking our time and planning things. We also want to consider the end game. If and when this is successful, what does that look like? Is that actually what we want to work toward? I've seen a lot of people start to work toward a strategy and then never really consider what happens when it works. And when they do, they realize that's not the outcome they wanted in the end. So always consider where you want to end at the beginning. Be very thorough. There's really no point to skip details here. Always weigh multiple options, before making your decision. Check with other people, get outside perspectives, and then test in batches, as we were talking about earlier before the call, George. You want to make sure that you test little things. Don't burn your whole list up.
Yeah.
So just a quick update then. So we understand why strategy matters. So we're going to make sure that we get this right, and we're going to go through differentiating between the strategies and tactics next. So that should answer the question that kicked this all off. So really the key difference is, strategy is a high level plan that's designed to achieve a major long-term goal or overall aim. And a tactic is really the specific actions or steps taken to accomplish that strategy. So they're both required, but it's only effective when used properly. And so what we want to do is make sure that we set up the big picture to make sure that all the tactical pieces actually fit together, right? The really scary thing that I've seen a lot is people trying to teach tactics as if they were a strategy. So obviously that's what we're trying to clear up here. So just to make it a little easier, I went ahead and broke down some different strategies versus tactics. And so we've probably seen all of these. We've probably seen people trying to sell those tactics as they were strategies. But the biggest thing that I could tell you with strategies is strategies are timeless. Tactics are time-bound or platform-bound. So what I mean by that is branding will always be a strategy. Branding is how your customers feel when you're not in the room. So what is it they say about you? Your brand isn't your logo or your font. And the best way that I can illustrate this is I heard Seth Godin talk about this once, and he said, if Nike tomorrow came out with a hotel, we would all have a pretty good idea of what it would be like. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
If Howard Johnson Hotels came out with a shoe, do you have any idea what that would be like? Right. Because they're just a logo on a mid-tier hotel, right? They're not a brand that makes you feel a certain way, right? So that's why we want to look at strategies, because it's a bigger piece. So same thing goes, search engine optimization, keywords and backlinking, paid advertising versus just Google or Facebook ads. The big thing again is that timeless piece versus either time-bound or platform-bound. Email marketing versus just collecting data or copywriting, content marketing versus just blogging and sharing, social media marketing as a strategy rather than just creating reels and shorts, public relations rather than just press releases and podcasts, and systems thinking as opposed to software and tools. So we're going to actually jump into that at the end when we talk about architecting our sales system. We're talking more about the systems thinking side of things than the actual software involved, although we will use software to execute a lot of it. So the best way I could think of it, as you saw, strategy is to planning, as tactics are to action. Cool.
If anybody has any questions, you can put those over in the questions tab.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we understand why strategy matters. We know how to differentiate strategy and tactics. So the whole reason why we're here is to figure out how to start the marketing strategy. This is really important. So today I'm going to show you how to start it, and then I'm going to tell you how to go finish it. And then we're going to move forward because we only need to start it to architect our system. Okay. So to start it, there's a couple pieces of initial info that we want. Again, we're going to reference Digital Marketer here. So we're using some of their tools and frameworks. But the first and most important thing that we need is to find our tribe. And you'll hear this from Russell Brunson. You hear it from a lot of marketers, really. And the idea is, who do you want to hang out with? A lot of times we start our businesses focused on what am I good at? What can I do? Who do I know? What can I offer? And then who wants to buy it? As opposed to, who do I want to spend my time with? Who do I want to hang out with on a Sunday because there's no other time? Or who do I want to work late with, right? Those are the people that really matter, and who we want to think in the end game of when we're successful and we have a whole group of people around us because they're our successful customers or clients or whatever. Who are they, and are we happy with them? That's just a really big key, and I think it's almost like a career changing type decision. when we start thinking of the end. The next thing we're going to do is do market research. We'll break down the different components of market research. Then we'll go through the customer avatar worksheet. This is something that allows us to really kind of figure out who the person we're speaking to and their unique circumstances. Then we'll do a before and after grid. This maps the transformation from hell to heaven. The purpose of this is really to outline the transformation that someone's going to go through, because we buy transformations. We don't purchase products and services. And then the final thing that we're going to do, and nothing is necessarily more important than the rest, but this is such a powerful document, is the value journey worksheet. So again, from Digital Marketer, we'll go from the steps to look at somebody who's a suspect, a complete stranger, all the way to an evangelist and a brand promoter. Cool? Absolutely. Once we have these 5 steps, we're ready to at least kind of get our process started, and we can even get to the architecture of our sales system. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our tribe. So what we want to do is we want to identify and connect with people who share our values, interests, and goals. It doesn't have to be exact, right? We don't have to go find somebody from our church necessarily, but what we want to do is find people that we want to hang out with, right? Maybe not every day, but people that in general, if and when we're successful, we have a whole group of people there around us supporting us, that they're people that we're proud to be around, that we're part of the we. We is a powerful thing. We fosters deeper engagement, identity shifts, behavioral changes, long-term relationships, and even personal fulfillment. What we do as a group, as a tribe, is a very, very, very powerful. So when you can serve a community that you genuinely care about, you're obviously going to be more motivated and willing to help them. It's easier to get up and go to work when things aren't going well. Now, I think one thing that I probably could have done a better job of mentioning here, and I just want to make it clear, is that you're not necessarily only hanging out with people that you like, or only chasing your passions or your hobbies. It's a mixture. It's almost a bit of a Venn diagram of saying, okay, well, on one side, we have all the things that you love to do. And on the other side, we have all the things that you could help people do, or you could get paid well to do. And where those things overlap, that's your tribe. That's who you want to find. So the more specific, the better. So yeah, this will not only help build some trust with your business, but it's just going to help align with everything you do. Makes sense. Once you've found your tribe, I do want to point out one thing. Dana, you actually mentioned some of your success last week, and I thought about the process that you went through, and I think you found your tribe really early. And that's probably why you've seen some of the success that you have already. And so really, once we identify our tribe, then we can kind of continue pushing forward, and we can even look for other places where our tribe is already located or already congregated. And so that's how we move into the market research side. This is another one of those kind of, big stances I like to take against most marketing. And it's that most marketing is not creative work. Most marketing, the best marketing, is a result of gathering, analyzing, interpreting information about your industry, market, and niche, including the details about your potential customers and competitors. This is, part of the stuff that a lot of people skip. They look into something, and you can always tell when somebody skipped the market research, because they'll say, well, the market's this big, and if I could just get 1% of 1%, right? You do the math, right? It's always the same thing. We've all probably heard it. We might have said it. I probably said it. So the idea here is to actually get really good information, and the better we can do here, the less problems we'll experience later, the less tension we'll have with customers, the easier we'll move them through our funnel and really just move them from that suspect all the way to evangelist really quickly. Mm-hmm. So research helps us understand customer needs, preferences, behaviors, and market dynamics. This image from Faster Capital, definitely recommend checking out this article when you get a chance. It's great. It's a fantastic job of content marketing if you want to see a good example of a company offering assistance in an adjacent field that would bring people in. Because obviously, if you're looking for market research, you might be looking for capital. So that was a fantastic job of bringing someone in there. So once you got your market research done, or you feel confident about where you're, what industry you're operating in, the market that you want to choose, please don't try to market to the entire U.S. or the entire world. You don't probably have the money to do that. So focus on one area at a time, get it right, and then go to the next market, because people in Dallas are different than people in San Diego. And I promise you, we need to be talked to differently, Okay, so after that, we want to jump into these worksheets. These are the digital marketer worksheets I was talking about. The first one is the customer avatar worksheet. So this is designed to help create detailed profiles of your ideal customers. We've probably all done some version of this. This is just kind of a formalized sheet that puts it all together. But what we're looking for are the demographics. If you can grab psychographics too, fantastic. It's a little deeper level stuff. We could talk about a different time, but get your basic demographics. Get your the customer goals and values, right? What are they trying to achieve? What's important to them? Find out what their challenges are, what are the roadblocks, what are the pain points. One thing to really make sure of here is that you understand the difference between problems and pain. Problems cause pain. And so what we want to do here is focus on the pain, not necessarily the problems they have. So for instance, a common problem a lot of my customers have is they have no leads. Well, that causes pain. So the pain isn't that they don't have leads. The pain is that, maybe they have to cut people. Maybe they, have too many salespeople on the floor, right? Maybe the revenue starts to drop. And because of that, their business does bad and they miss other opportunities, right? Those are pain points. The problem is before. So we want to focus on pain points here. The really important piece here is to grab sources of information. So going back to that kind of dream list. So once we know where our tribe is and we figure out where they get information, we can just go there, right? So for instance, if I'm selling to, somebody who Jeremy Miner has a fantastic sales training program, cool. Well, what if people are like me and those salespeople want to migrate a little further upstream to the marketing side of things? So I could go to YouTube and put my ad right in front of that because my people get their information from him. So once I figure out where my people get their information, I can be there, right? And I can also speak in that same language. One other piece I'll say about that is everything that's up here behind me is bait because I speak to a lot of people that are familiar with sales and marketing, and they will call out the book that matters to them. And so now I know where they get their information and I can use that perspective. I have a client who loves Alex Hormozy and he's fantastic and everything, but he does not resonate with anything that I say that's not from Alex Hormozy. So once you figure that out, it's easy to start to speak to your customers in the right way. Okay, so the next thing is just the objections and roles. A lot of people don't think about what objections would somebody have to this until they get on the phone with somebody and start trying to deal with it all. And then they're trying to learn closes and all of these things. With strategic marketing, all we want to do is we want to figure out the objections, the reasons why people might say no to us at the end. We want to figure that out at the beginning. And then we also want to figure out what role do they play in this. Are they the sole decision maker? Things like that usually come up in the sales part. We just want to bring it earlier into the conversation. This helps us to make sure that we are focusing on not a group, but our perfect prospect. When we write, when we design, when we create ads, everything that we do should be focused around that one person we're trying to talk to. Okay, cool. So next thing we'll do is a before and after grid. This is insanely important, especially if you've struggled with copy. If you really are having a hard time being customer centric, you probably haven't gone through anything like this just yet. And so what we want to do is we want to clearly identify the transformation that our product or service provides. So the two big questions are, what does your customer have, feel, experience, and believe before they're introduced to your product or service? And then what does your customer, or will they have, feel, experience, and believe after they've dealt with our product or service? The only thing that's not really mentioned there is status. It's a lot to talk about, but it's a very important piece. It drives a lot of our decisions. But what we want to do is we want to map that out. So a lot of my customers have lead generation problems. They feel stressed and overwhelmed. Their average day is spent researching at things, trying things, ultimately failing at things. It's very stressful. Their status is low because they feel that maybe they're an unsuccessful business owner. Maybe they have to deal with a spouse that doesn't see them as a success. Maybe they're struggling to pay bills, right? No matter what, their status is just lowering in their own mind. And the big good versus evil is that they're facing, the big philosophical belief that they're up against is that this shouldn't be so hard. If others can do it, I should be able to do it, right? So that's who I'm dealing with before I step in. And then after, right, what transformation do I want them to have? Well, they went from no leads, now they have leads. They felt stressed and overwhelmed, now they feel confident and confident, right? The average day was spent doing this, and now it's spent just checking in on the numbers or relaxing or just speaking to the manager or whatever, right? So it's this transformation from their bad day to their good day. And one thing that you want to make sure that you do here is not to try to cram all of your customers into this. You want to make sure that you have a different grid for each customer segment. So I work with agencies, I have a grid for that. I work with home service companies, right? Local service companies, I have a grid for that. Very different. Okay. And the final piece of this kind of initial gathering to start is our customer value journey worksheet. And so what we want to do here is we want to map out our customer steps to do business with you, from complete stranger to proud promoter. And this is the digital marketer framework. First thing that's going to happen is we have awareness, then engagement, then subscribe, convert, excite, ascend, an advocate stage, and a promotion stage. And so quickly to just discuss what this would look like in practice, in the real world, people, just like we were talking about before, George, people do business with people. Brands aren't buying from brands. We don't buy from company. No, we're buying from people more often than not. And the first thing that we have to do whenever we're, meeting people or being introduced to people, we have to know they exist. We have to be aware of them. That's the first and most important thing. So it's the story that gets used all the time is, a guy walks up or a guy sees a girl at the bar. He has to actually walk up and talk to her before she knows that he's alive or even exists. When they start talking, they're going to reach an engagement stage. There's a little bit of conversation taking place, but what's not happening is he's not saying, "Hey, I'm Ben. Do you want to go on a date? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids?" Right? There's a logical process that we go through. We want to do that same thing with our business. So, it may be, "Hey, let's talk. Let's go on a date. Hey, do you want to, be in a relationship? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to move?" Right? These are things that all happen in a particular order, and when they don't, we look at people like they're crazy. So we don't want to be crazy with our marketing. So mapping this piece out, I don't want to say that one piece is more important than the rest, but if you stop here and you don't finish the rest of the marketing strategy, and this is the only piece that you really hone in on, you'll do well. And the reason why is because we're looking holistically at the whole journey that they take. Did they come in here and drop off? Did we fail to convert them? Okay, well, now we need to re-engage them and walk them back through, right? I'm sure we've all had somebody that we thought was ready to buy, and then we just continually ask them, like, "Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy?" And then they just didn't. Well, it's because we didn't go back and re-engage them and start over and fix things, right? And we need to understand this is how people operate. So we just want to map out our process to match that. And then from here, we'll be able to architect our system to match this as well. How are we doing on time?
Just a couple minutes left.
Okay, cool. I've only got a couple left here. So this is part for you to finish later. After you get that, you just want to combine it all with brand positioning, content strategy, budget, timeframes, and resources, metrics, KPIs. These 9 things, the 5 from the other and the 4 here, will complete a marketing strategy. Don't have time, obviously, to go through everything. HubSpot is unbelievable at brand positioning. I highly recommend them, probably above everyone else. Digital marketers, content strategy, they built their entire business on content. So highly recommend that you look into those. And then the others are kind of self-explanatory. Okay, so once you have that, now you know how to start your marketing strategy. The only thing that's left is to architect a scalable sales system. Again, when we're talking about sales systems, we're talking about systems thinking rather than software. Software is going to help us to execute, but it's not the system. So there are 4 main elements for consistent, predictable sales. We want to offer quality lead magnets, which are ethical bribes for value in advance. That little part there is the important piece, value in advance. Then we want to develop progressive value offers that are ascending strategic products and services that you sell. Next, we want to create an email marketing machine that handles your transactional, relational, and promotional messages. And then finally, we create continuous feedback loops with surveys, reviews, and community engagement. Cool.
Important.
All right. So real quick, lead magnets are hard. I don't know why everyone struggles with them so much, probably because there's a lot of bad information out there. But the ultimate thing that you want to do is you want to deliver value in advance. What I mean by that is oftentimes we try to offer, we'll offer like a free consultation, we'll offer a demo, we'll offer, subscribe to a newsletter. These these aren't actually providing real value. Though you may think so. You may think a free consultation is super helpful to that person. It's too early to be helpful to that person. It's too rushed, right? And we've all had that where somebody sends us their calendar link right away. And I'm like, I'm not getting on a call. You don't even know you, right? You don't own my time, right? So it's the same kind of thing. We need to make sure that this is valuable enough that we can capture their email. That's the only information that we are bribing. We don't need their first name. We don't need to know what they're interested in because they're opting into a certain piece which handles all of our segmentation that we're going to need. So when you're trying to design a lead magnet, we want to make sure that it's specific. Either this is kind of one or the other. You don't have to choose them all. You could, but you want to make a specific promise, give a specific example, like a case study, offer a specific solution, answer a specific question, or deliver a specific discount. Please don't default to discount. It's the cheapest, lowest level. It's not going to work as well as some of the others may, because it is a bit of a quid pro quo, right? I'll give you this if you do that. That's not really a great value in advance, right? Now, one thing that I want to just be very clear on here is I don't fish. So that's important because I'm going to tell you that the bait that you use with your lead magnet, which is going to be one of the first things that people interact with, will determine the fish that you will catch. It's very, very important. If you see the guys on Facebook and Instagram and all that put a Lambo in the background, the people who click on that are exactly who they want. If you're like me and that pushes you away, that's what they want. So the bait that you use is very, very important to the fish that you will catch. And the last thing is that if you're going to put a lead magnet in, it should always be upstream. Always be upstream. You're not trying to just give somebody a watered down version of what your main offer is or anything like that. You want to go before they have the problem. Who is this person before they're your perfect customer? That's what we want. Next thing we want to do is we want to focus on that customer value journey, and we want to develop progressive offers. And again, what that means is we don't want to walk up and say, hey, you're beautiful. Let's get married, have kids, move away. We don't want to do that. We want to take it one step at a time. So what we want to do is we want to create increasing value offers, because as somebody moves through a process of transformation, they need more, right? They're going to need more things. Every solution that we provide creates a new problem. And so that's how we want to start thinking of things. So the very first thing that happens, they get their lead magnet. We want to start offering them a tripwire almost immediately. A tripwire, also called an entry point, a low ticket offer, whatever else, a guru wants to call it, is designed to to convert somebody at convert stage from a prospect to a buyer. This helps you to, if you're running ads or doing any type of organic that requires human capital or something of the sort. This allows you to start to liquidate some of your costs, which means that your cost per acquisition starts to drop, and you could potentially even break even on customer acquisition before you even talk to somebody about selling them your core offer, which means your profitability increases. It's crazy how fast it can happen if you're able to actually recoup your ad costs earlier in the process. But that requires going upstream. So first thing you have is tripwires, then you move them into a core offer. Ideally, you only have one of each. That's all you really need, especially starting out. But as you develop and have more, you may end up splitting some of your attention, and that's okay. And then we move into profit maximizers, which are the upsells, cross-sells, bundles, kits, subscriptions. There's a few other things that you can put in there, but ultimately the point is to ascend that person to a multiple time buyer, to multiple product buyer, and then into those advocate and promotion stages. And so the key here to remember is that the right offer made at the right time to the right person will maximize your customer lifetime value. If you're not focused on that, then it's really easy to chase one strategy or tactic and not have that end game in mind. And it could seem like things are going well until you get to the end of the month. So we want to make sure that we really focus on what is the customer lifetime value. And let's see, that's it. Okay. So just think of that natural human relationship. We're going to use systems, especially on this email marketing machine. Email is not going anywhere, and I'm betting on a massive resurgence that we have not seen, especially with things like TikTok going under legal scrutiny. We have other social channels that are consistently changing, And it's really, really difficult to build a business on a platform that you do not have control over. If your entire business is built around Facebook ads, that's fantastic until Zuckerberg changes an algorithm. Or if your entire business is built around Google and Google changes the way things index because it's getting flooded with AI, your entire strategy could go away. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are getting people offline and into our ecosystem. And the best channel that we own is always going to be email. I'm not saying that because, oh, I like email or anything like that. I'm saying that because people like email. And the stats of people that request emails from businesses are through the roof. I didn't even want to show you because I thought you'd think they were fake. So look those up sometime. Look up email marketing stats, and I bet you'll be blown away. But there are a few different jobs that email marketing should be doing for you. Subscriber engagement, saying hi, hello, how are you, keeping your leads from going stale. Direct sales, obviously we all want that. That's what most people try to use it for only. We have customer reviews and referrals, subscriber re-engagement, so database reactivation campaigns, bonding and relationship building, telling stories, sharing experiences, branding, right? Again, how do we want people to think about us? Sometimes we just have to go tell them. And then content distribution. And so content strategy is a big part, but the distribution is kind of a separate piece. So ultimately, these emails can be from a brand, a face, or a combination. That is a strategic decision on your own to make. I would highly recommend that it's not brand almost every single time. Transactionals are usually fine for brand, but most people want to deal with a person. It makes it a lot easier, and so to go through the buying process. So if you can do a face, great. And what I mean by that is you sign every single email as an individual with a picture if possible, but rather than signing off as your company. And these can either be triggered, which means that a certain action from the customer kicks us off, or broadcast, and that would be when you're sending to maybe an entire list or a segmented list at once. Once you have this email marketing machine, though, you can constantly and consistently communicate with people. And the beautiful thing is they continue to tell you how you're doing, because if they don't opt out, they're saying that I'm still willing to hear from you a little more. So that's kind of the beautiful thing. Okay. And the last piece of architecture here is feedback loops. And so these are essential for gathering, analyzing, and acting on the information that matters. And what we want to look at are surveys and quizzes. Primarily, these are going out to our database and to people who didn't take action with us, so we can kind of figure out how to optimize our system. Reviews and referrals, obviously that helps us to promote. That's a huge marketing tool for SEO for a lot of different reasons, and builds credibility and authority for us. And it gives the customers the luxury of not having to go first. And then we have community engagement, where we're not just saying come buy from me and then leave. We want to constantly engage people. So whether that's a private chat group you have, a Facebook group, or just every once in a while you send out a message to somebody on your team, or somebody that you sold to, just to keep them engaged, then that will work. But overall, these will boost your retention, so they'll keep people around longer. They'll help you to build a strong customer-centric brand reputation. That's the important piece. We want to focus on customer-centric instead of products. So that's it. Covered it all. Put it all together. Take a simple marketing strategy plus a scalable sales system, and you'll have predictable success. That's it. Not crazy. No $5 million course needed. You didn't have to listen to everything or read a book. It's that easy. But I want to give you two last things just to make it a little easier. Some of this is kind of theoretical, so this way you have a little practical piece that you can look at. So this is how you can maximize that customer lifetime value. A lot of people, especially with smart search leads being such a key component for traffic, the kicker is having the system built to put them into, and understanding how do those things line up. So when you see a funnel, people like to do all kinds of different things. This is about the easiest way I can make sense of it. Doesn't matter what your traffic source is. It doesn't matter at all. You will adjust for that later. But ultimately, the structure would be lead magnet. They come in, they get value in advance. I've met you. I appreciate you. I trust you enough to give you a little bit of my hard-earned money. I'm going to do most of that through a welcome campaign, through emails, tripwire offers, low ticket, entry point, whatever you want to call them. These are going to be at a price point that is almost automatic. I shouldn't have to stop and think about it. It's what I usually pay for these kind of things. All I'm doing is moving from prospect to customer, and we can move them up to a core offer. There may be multiple tripwires just based on how your pricing works. You may need 2 steps in there. But ultimately, your core offer, your flagship product, this is what most of us have now. We usually don't have anything else, right? So what we're trying to do is jump somebody from the very beginning all the way to our core offer. And we haven't taken them through the steps to show credibility, to show that we actually, like their problems, that they can trust that they'll get the outcome that they want. And then we move them up into our upsells, which would be the ascension part. We're using profit maximizer campaigns to move them into higher ticket pieces, and ultimately get that max customer lifetime value. These are all placeholders. You can move them around as you see fit. But if you have something that somewhat resembles this, I promise you'll get the most that you can out of each customer as you continue to optimize your way up.
We're running a little bit low on time, Ben.
Nope, you're good. This is the last thing. It's just how to set it up. So I'll just put that in there and we're good. That's it. We made
it. That's great. Well, thanks again, Ben, for going through this with us. I think it's very valuable. I know I certainly learned a few things. I think I learned a lot of things. But of course, this video will be uploaded to our membership site along with the materials that you have there for us, and any of the offers that you have. So anybody who's here, member of Frameworks Consortium, that'll be on the membership site probably early next week. If you are listening in and you are not yet a member, just send us an email. Let us know what that looks like. And thanks again, Ben, for being here. And we'll switch back over into networking mode here.
Absolutely.